Second video for the week 4 problem set sigma group. These are the solutions for problems 7 through 12. Looking at number 7, we're looking at which is the following a solution to this inequality. You could plug in the answer choices. Be careful with your negatives and your exponents and your fractions and everything like that. I'll show you the algebra way to look at this problem. And again, you choose. To me, I would probably just do the algebra for this one, but I'm a math teacher. You might not be as strong working with these. You probably want to go right to the calculator if that's the case. All you'd have to do there is add 6 to both sides, add x squared to both sides, getting the constants on one side, the numbers on the other side. That cancels, we have 4x squared, okay, when that happens, is greater than 10. Divide by 4 on each side, now we have x squared is greater than 2.5, and square root both sides. And we see that x has to be at least 1.68. The only answer choice that works there is E, 5/2, which is 2.5. Okay, you just got to be careful with your fractions and your parentheses if you're plugging answer choices and going from there. The next one says which is not a solution. The correct answer is A, -1. Again, I'll show you the algebra way. If you like that, cool. If not, plug in the answer choices. Go from there. We have 2x squared minus 6 in absolute values is less than or equal to 6. We know we're going to branch off. We're going to have two separate solutions that are going to make a compound inequality here. The first one we're going to have is 2x minus 6 is less than or equal to 6. And the second one is 2x, oops, these are squared, aren't they? Yep, 2x squared. 2x squared minus 6 is now greater than or equal to a -6. Go through and solve. We get x squared is greater than or equal to 6 over here. In other words, x is, sorry, I said less than, should be less than or equal to. And when you square root there, you get about 2 point something. We'll leave it at that for now and see if we need to get a little bit more accurate with it. On the other side, we add 6, we get 0. Divided by 2 is still 0. Square root 0 is still 0. So we end up with x is greater than or equal to 0. So we're looking at values that are going to be less than or equal to 2 point something and greater than or equal to 0. The only one that does not work there is answer choice A, like we said before. So 8 is A. Whoops. Number 9. Looking at this, we see -2 is less than x is less than 2. In this problem, easiest way is to go ahead and plug in answer choices. We usually like to avoid plugging in 0 and 1. In this case, we can't. I'm still going to avoid 0 because 0 is going to give me some awkward answers, but I'm going to go ahead and plug in 1 and see if it's going to give me 1 answer, 2 answers, 3 answers, and then we'll have to change it up from there if it doesn't give us just 1. So I'm going to plug in x equals 1, and when I do that, I get 4 minus 1 squared in absolute values on top over 1 minus 2. 1 squared is 1, 4 minus 1 is 3, absolute value 3 is 3. So I have 3 over -1, which is -3. So I'm plugging in my 1 with a target of -3. The only answer that gives me that is answer choice E, because negative on the outside, 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, times -1 is -3, which is my target that I was looking for. On to number 10. We're talking about lines that are perpendicular. Perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So let's first look at line K. The slope formula, which you should remember, but is also on your formula sheet. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 gives me 9 minus 0, 2 minus 0 over 6 minus 4, or a slope of 1. So we need the opposite reciprocal of 1. Well, opposite changes its sign. Reciprocal of 1 is still 1. So I have a slope for line L of -1. So -1 is going to be equal to the slope formula for line L, which is a minus 0, a is what we need to solve for, over 0 minus -2. careful with those negatives there. I'm going to put this over 1 so I can see how I cross multiply in just a second here. On the bottom of the right side of the equation, I end up with minus a negative. Minus a negative is super plus, as I call it, or just plus a positive. So I have 2 on the top. On the top I have a minus 0. That's just a. And I'm looking at what value is going to give us a negative 1. Well, simply by looking at it, I could tell you that it's going to be negative 2. If you're not as confident in that, you could cross multiply and solve for a your own way, and you'll find that negative 2 is the answer. Answer choice B works for that one. Looking at 11, now we have f of x equals x plus 1 squared. We want f of t plus 2. Well, basically, whatever goes inside the parentheses there is what we're plugging in for x. So wherever I see x, I'm plugging in t plus 1. So I plug in t plus 1 here, plus 1. I'm sorry, it's t plus 2. Sorry. I'm plugging in t plus 2 here, plus 1, and squaring that. Well, t plus 2 plus 1 is the same thing as t plus 3. So now I just need to square that. Don't forget, you can't just distribute that 2. It's a binomial that you have to FOIL. T plus 3 times t plus 3. And if you forget how to FOIL, watch the video from the lesson to remind you on that. I'm going to just go through and do it. 2 squared plus 3t plus 3t is plus 6t plus 9, which is answer choice C. And the last one, number 12, is a composition of functions. We're looking at f of g of negative 1. Always start inside out, so ignore the f for a second and do g of negative 1. When you do g of negative 1, that means you plug in negative 1 wherever you see the x. So it's 2 times negative 1 squared plus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So now I take that 3, and now that's what I'm going to plug in for f. So I'm looking for f of 3. So that's 3 squared minus 4. 3 squared is 9, minus 4 is 5. That's our answer. Answer choice C. Hope you guys did pretty well on this problem set. If not, take a look at the lesson and the videos associated, and then take a look at the week 4 assessment. Thank you guys. Have a great week.